what you know about purification to save the heart of a nation. Let burn a talking wood, bringing light to a talking wood. Natural law, just wisdom and love. Vision truth below as a bird. Let burn a talking wood. Let burn a talking wood.
Ado. Inherent in withholding love from self is unknowingly withholding it from everyone else. To me, it was much easier for me to convince you to want me, at least momentarily, than try to make the world want me in any true capacity. So I gift wrap my selfishness in love and compassion and sincerity. Not that I didn't feel love, compassion, and sincerity, but not nearly to the extent that I felt fear of rejection or self-dissipation or the elimination of women like me from all that has meaning in the world. So I twirl my hair and paint my eyes to disguise my insecurity, while the devil is assuring me that tonight at least someone wants me near. I hear the echo of my falsity, and it smothers me like a wool blanket over a most delicate spark. Please mark this down as my apology, but don't follow me, because I really need to close this door. I am so tired of being that girl when I know I can be this woman. Coming home to someone I love and embrace and can face soberly in the mirror surely suits me just fine. And in time, I will forgive the girl and allow the woman to soar. I will be able to ignore the next flirtatious tap on my shoulder like I have ignored so many before. Even though there is a fire that burns in me, my pain provides kindling and continued adversity fans the flames, committing me to still now and again whisper your name. I blame everything around me, but truly it is just me, my fault, my shame. Yet I await challenge to live up to my beauty within, to disengage the hypnotic grip of sin, to propel my desire to save the world, to embrace the woman and bury the girl. I must now hold myself to as high of a standard as I've held you, and be the promise of beauty that God so unforgivingly and ever continually holds me to. So just one word left to that girl. Adieu.
Bonjour, all you fellas and ladies out there. Whether you're in or outside of Loverland, in whether you're romancing, bromancing, or slow dancing, I don't know. Whatever you fancy, I suppose. But this is going to be a very cool, conscious conversation that I'm really happy to have. And it's been in the works and on our minds for a couple months. Cynthia and I mentioned this even after our chat on Dissolving the Divide, which y'all should definitely check out in regards to the pitfalls of celebrity worship, if you will. But yeah, I love what Cynthia's going to bring to the table. She's in what she's already brought in regards to her platform, Affirm Live Daily. And I've been honored, blessed to be a part of her shows a little bit, 2 times, and even most recently with Mario West and Soul Expression, who was featured in the Stomp Out to Freedom. And I was happy to sneak in a little bit of a couple short reels of Cynthia's very powerful messages and even poetry, which I was really pleasantly surprised that, like, wow, like, you got a lot of skills, yo. Like, and you're beautiful. You got a lot going on. You got that holistic gardening and all this stuff. It's like, wow. Thank you so much for joining me to, speak about some very important matters of the heart. So where do we start?
Where do we start? Thank you for that introduction, Derek. You are so near and dear to me. You have been so instrumental in me progressing along on this path. So I appreciate that so much. And I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about this. We're going to be talking about romance, relationships, and rebirth. Yes, yes, the 3 R's.
So yeah, we can get into it. And I just want to invite the audience to check out my website, Affirm Life Daily. You can check out the podcast, poetry, affirmations, lots of good stuff on there.
Yeah, and like real quick, the best way to for people to follow you, you're really active on Telegram and Instagram.
Yeah,
You have a
Telegram,
YouTube channel for
Instagram,
yeah.
TikTok, YouTube,
Oh
all
yeah,
at Affirm Life Daily. So that's yeah.
cool, cool.
You can find me on any of those platforms. Oh, Rumble as well at Affirm Life Daily.
That's awesome, and that's great that you're sticking it to the TikTokery of things. Where yeah, a lot of folks like myself, I'm not
It's
even
tough.
catching that with a 6 foot full pole sometimes. Like, and it's just
I
I
yeah.
appreciate it's there in folks like yourself that are like up in there really trying to infuse that, that good truth conscious spiritual stuff. But yeah,
It's tough on that platform. It's
like
I get constant warnings and
oh really?
yeah, about my posts. Yeah, they're not a fan of natural law. Doesn't seem.
Right.
So yeah, I get lots of warnings, lots of shadow banning, but some stuff slips through. So I'll take it where I can get it. So
Oh yeah, yeah. So, where would you like to start? I mean,
start with
feel free
romance.
to, tell a little bit about yourself, so folks
Oh,
get
yeah,
a,
sure.
a quick little background and that kind of, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I, like we talked about, I host a natural law podcast, Affirm Life Daily, and I'm my background. I kind of have been on that slow progression path of awakening for many years, and after I found Mark Passio about 3 years ago, I just dove deep in head first, didn't look back, and just been going strong ever since. So that's what led me to start the podcast and really try to spread this message of truth and freedom because I have two beautiful daughters. They're young women. They're starting to start their families, and it's like what world am I going to leave them? How hard am I going to fight so that they live in a better world than what I grew up in? Because things are progressively, like I said, they're squeezing the clamps down now. They're going all in. So what are we going to do in response to that? So that's kind of where I am. We have to respond. We have to be as motivated and as driven and as focused and as persistent as they are on the right moral side of things. Just how immoral they are, we have to be that moral. We have to work that hard. We have to plan the way they plan strategically and really, be all in and do this together. We have to bring back community. I also work with a group called Collectively Sustainable. Check that out at collectivelysustainable.org. They're doing amazing work promoting hyper-local food systems so that we can have food sovereignty, so that we can continue this fight, because if we can't eat, we can't do nothing else. So yeah, those are some ways that you can, check me out, learn more about me, and support the movement.
Fuck yeah. And I love your improvement. And especially, just what you've been through and the adversity that you're having to deal with, single mother, you had a tragic situation with your late husband or partner,
Yeah,
if
we
you
were married
will.
27 years. We were together 30 years and we were married 27. I got married when I was 18 years old. I didn't tell you
Oh,
that part.
wow.
Yeah, so it was so that's why it was so,
That's
like, for me it was just crushing, because this is the person that's been my partner for, like, literally my whole life. I met him when I was 15. We started dating when I was 16 and we got married when I was 18. So yeah, it was a lot to process, and like I said, I had to alchemize and transmute that pain and that grief, because it was overwhelming me. It had taken over my entire life. I didn't really feel anything else. That was all that I felt all the time. So I said, if I'm gonna be feeling this much, I gotta do something with it. I gotta figure out a way to take this same energy and do something positive with it, because my girls are still here. They still need me to be here, because I really honestly didn't have that much interest in being here anymore. I was just that depressed. I felt dead, and it's hard to describe to me, but I felt like I had died as well. So I had to
Yeah.
figure it out. And, it really gave me so much purpose and drive to do this, because this work matters. This matters more than anything else I could be doing or that I do in a given day, because I am trying to make, like I said, a better world for them. And it's I feel like, them being so young, it's hard to watch their response to this craziness. But actually, on my podcast this Saturday, my youngest daughter, that's 21, she's going to be the guest, her and some of her cohorts, because she speaks the truth all the time. She blasts it out there loud and proud. So it's all about Gen Z on Saturday. If you want to check that out, Saturday afternoon, we're going to be talking to some Gen
Cool.
Zers and their role in this movement towards truth and freedom. So yeah, it's a family thing.
That's great. That's great to hear. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. My heart goes out to you. Fuck. Yeah, it's like I I know what you're talking about of just not wanting to be here. Like, would rather be off dead than having to live with this incredibly heart shattering pain and
Yeah,
like this emptiness, this void that it's
yeah,
the
it
person's
was.
no one longer with us. Like we had shared this love. It's I can relate to a degree, with my ex who left me, and I was just like left kind of like shattered. But we had no kids and this and that, and she's still alive. But yeah, it was just like a sudden shock at the same time. It's like, wow. But then, yeah, how does one pick oneself up and find that purpose once again to like it's like the phoenix, steadily but slowly but surely rising from the ashes and this and that.
Yeah, yeah, and it was kind of crazy, because I had met a guy that I started dating, and I was still like way heavy in grief, way depressed. He was like concerned about me. Like he's like, "Are you okay?" Like I'm like, "No, I'm not." But it turned out to be partially where I feel like he was kind of like, she's probably going to be a very easy person to take advantage of in some ways, which happened. But I don't regret a minute of it, because he helped me remember, because I had no sense of self. I was his wife. I was my kid's mom. My kids are grown now. It's like I didn't even know who I was after he died. I'm like, who even am I? Like I really had no sense of it, and I didn't realize I had that little sense of self. But once he was gone, I recognized I'm like, I have no idea what to do with myself. I don't know really who I am outside of defining myself through this family, through this relationship. And so he helped me remember who I was. And so he was, I will never paint anyone, all bad like that, because he wasn't all bad. And he really helped me remember. And he, would hold me when I would cry and scream and, you know, lose my shit because I couldn't deal with it. And um, he really encouraged me to find ways to be of service. Like, you're still here. He's like, you're really smart, you're really talented, you're really this and that. Like, why you need to be doing stuff with it. Like, so yeah, he was very instrumental in helping me get back on my feet, despite the the negatives, which there were some huge ones. But I don't ever look at, and we'll get into this when we talk about relationship, I don't look at myself as a victim. I don't look at relationship as like the victim thing, because unless someone's holding you at gunpoint in a relationship, you're there voluntarily. So you're not a victim. You're getting something out of this exchange, even though you might be perceived as the victim, which a lot of, some people in my family, I'm sure, perceived me like that, like, oh God, he's taking advantage of her, da 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 da. But I don't look at myself like that, because I was a willing participant in this relationship. And even when I started to kind of see what was going on, I still was participating. So for me, I had to figure out, why am I still participating? Why do I still want this? Even though I'm seeing all of this, I'm seeing what he's doing, and I still want to be here. So what's not healed in me that I still even want this? And I said, you know what? I'm gonna stay right here till I figure it out, because all I'm gonna do is go play this out with some other guy if I don't figure it out right now. And so that was the approach that I took until I could figure out what was going on within me that needed healing. And it was a lot of things. But never having dated, because I was, we were separated a couple times during our marriage. So I dated a little bit, but I really don't look at myself as someone that has any type of dating or relationship experience. So, besides my marriage, so I was very green, and so and I really didn't have, when you don't have multiple relationships, there's a lot of stuff you don't learn about yourself because certain things aren't triggered within you. But between my husband dying and this new relationship, a lot of stuff was getting triggered in me that I did not know that I needed so desperately to deal with. So I look at it as a blessing because now I have a chance to deal with this stuff.
Wow, yeah, that's that's really profound what you shared. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm sure it's not all that easy to talk about these things. Even
No.
and maybe it is at the
No,
point
it's
where
not.
yeah, but it sounds like you've alchemized a good amount and
Yeah.
you healed it up to certain points. And yeah, it's like the shadow work or the shadow aspects that need to be worked upon, those come up so much in relationships and stuff, and like
Yes.
certain partners are not going to show sides of that, I guess. So it's interesting, like that's
Yeah.
wow, like the experiences you've had and all that stuff. And yeah, like just being with one person for so long, since so young. Yeah, it's quite
It's
yeah.
been the last, I would say, 5, 6 years of my life has been like I've experienced this so much. Like I've had to feel so much. I had to do so much healing, so much work on myself
Mm,
in such a short amount of time. But like I said, I'm grateful for it because a lot of people didn't even understand why I started dating so soon after my husband's passing. Because I met him like just randomly. I went out that day by myself just because I was forcing myself to leave my house and leave my bed and get dressed and stuff like, because like I had stopped like getting dressed. I had stopped just caring for myself like at all. So I was like started forcing myself to leave the house and do things. And so I was out by myself and just kind of met him randomly in September and of that same year that my husband passed. And we really hit it off, and it felt good to be able to just talk to somebody and connect with somebody and interact with somebody that didn't know. My husband's name was Ricky, that didn't know Ricky. Because anytime I would interact with other people, I would start thinking of him and the time, oh, that time we did this and that time we did that. And it's not their fault, but everybody in my life was a reminder, but he didn't know, he wasn't around. So it was nice to be with someone that didn't remind me of this pain and this grief that I was dealing with. And it like I said, it helped me in a lot of ways. And despite all the negatives that came with that, like I said, I'm still grateful for that experience. And I just felt like I was at a point where like I'm trying to survive here. So I'm not going to try to explain myself to anybody how I'm dealing with this. I don't care if you understand. I'm trying to save myself for my kids right now. I'm trying not to go under. And whatever that looks like is how it's going to look. And everybody's going to have to deal with it because I'm trying to stay afloat right now and get myself back together and get some type of resemblance of life again, like to feel again something besides pain, because that's all that I was feeling like 24 hours a day.
geez, yeah. And yeah, I appreciate, people like you that, talk about these experiences of, yeah, there was, a good amount of negative aspects of, said relationship or this, this guy or this girl, whatever, yet you recognize the positives and the growth that was facilitated about that, or even during this and that. And it's just like, yeah, like anyone that we're going to be interacting with in life, presents the opportunity to learn something. It could be a lesson if people want to call it that, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just what we do with that, right,
Yep.
at the same time, and how we perceive it and this and that. And like you mentioned, and that's great you mentioned it, of like, oh, we're just a victim, this guy was a
Yeah.
dickhead or this and that. So like,
Yeah. Oh, poor
but
me.
poor,
Oh, he took advantage of. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go cry and woe is me.
yeah, like where do you grow from there, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
there's no growth there. There's no growth there. I'm not gonna blame. I'm a grown woman. I was older than he was by
Yeah.
like I think like 6 years. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna go blaming anybody. This is on me. I'm a grown adult and I have to deal with my issues and the effects, the cause and effect. I chose this, so now I got to deal with all the ramifications of said relationship or whatever, and deal with, like I said, the things in me that I am still currently, working on and healing. But once you're aware, it's way different dealing with something once you're aware of it, and the power that it has starts to decrease so rapidly once you're aware, because now I can be conscious and be like, okay, I know what I'm doing right now. I know this is just a trigger. This is something, you know what I mean? And so I can consciously make another choice rather than just going from that unconscious place of that pain and letting that make my choices, you know?
Yeah, totally. And yeah, it sucks like being with someone for so long, like for the majority of your life up until this point, and yeah, we all have our ups and downs in relationships, but that was like the love of your life type of, and then
Right.
you have to go through the trials and tribulations of like these hit and miss guys and whatever, right? And it's interesting that, like when we're with someone, early on, and we just have a specific experience or in an idea of that, even though we see things on TV and hear stories from our friends and whoever of what romance is and the
Mhm.
romantic side of a loving relationship and all that stuff. I'm kind of curious as to the contrast that you've experienced, with your husband in regards to, afterwards and this and that. And I'm sure there was an evolution of romance and whatever love interaction, during the over 2 decades of being together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's impressive,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was a long time. Yeah. Like I said, we were, like I said, married 27 years. We were together like 30 years, and it was, a long time. So it went through lots of phases, lots of ups, lots of downs, lots of everything. And there's so many parts of it that was just dysfunctional as hell. Like I can, and I will openly admit that, because we were kids when we got married. So we were two kids that, had some issues in our both of our home lives. uh Not, and no disparaging our parents. We had very loving parents, but people have issues. Like both of our fathers had issues with drinking and stuff like that. And so, but they were great parents, they were great grandparents, so I'm not disparaging them in any way. They're very loving. But we didn't come in with like this super duper skill set of like, oh, this is how you have like, a really healthy relationship with someone. And my parents, they didn't have that example either. People are, doing the best that they can. In most cases, they're doing the best that they can. And we were doing the best that we could, but there was a lot of problems. We were kids when we got married, totally just kids. He was 19, I was 18. And so we're learning how to be adults, but in in a marriage. So it was a very difficult, lots of ups and downs. And I did go into it with lots of illusions of romance, how it's supposed to be. Oh, he's not reading my mind and knowing that I want this and I want that. It's crazy stuff that I had to grow up and grow out of. Like, how is he supposed to read my mind? How's he supposed to know what I want if I don't tell him? You know what I mean? Stuff, just basic stuff that I know now is basic. But when I was young, I'm just thinking like, he had lot of, you know, thoughts like that too, just because we're programmed to think about love and romance in a very story type of way, fictional type of way, not in a real, okay, this is a real human with real issues and a real personality and real feelings, that's going to go through real life ups and downs, as opposed to what we see on these Lifetime movies and in these romance novels and in these R&B songs. It's not like that in real life, but we're trying to make real relationships be fictional relationships, and that's just never going to work. It's never going to work, because when I was researching the origins of the word romance, it's actually based on stories and literature, written in informal Latin. So it's literally it's from based in fiction. It's based in stories. It's a story. And we have to really move from stories to real life. And I feel like so many of us, we build these internal delusions, like even with the part, even when we see the way the person is, we'll create a whole nother version of that. I definitely did this with the last guy I was dating. I created a whole nother version of him in my mind. And that's who I was dating. The one that I created in my mind, not the one that was in real life, the one that I created in my mind. So then you project that delusion outwards. Now you have an illusion as your relationship. So then when they do things that's really outside your illusion, you get so upset, like, why are they acting this way? They've been showing you this is who they are the entire time, but you were stuck on that delusion. You weren't living in reality. And so you're playing out, a fantasy, and you have to admit to yourself, okay, did I, who was I in love with, the delusion or the person? And you have to be real honest with yourself when you answer that.
Wow, yeah. That, you hit the nail on the head on that, and like a lot of other stuff you said before. Bravo. Wow. I love that. And I love the fact that it relates to the fact that it's like, yeah, we can have our perceptions and subjective truths of things or whatever, but is it aligned to objective reality?
Exactly.
Who the person actually is, are our ideas aligned with, who that person actually is, and also, does that person actually know who they are, like
That part. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I feel like, he definitely had a projection of an illusion of himself as well. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people, they're stuck in a delusional state just about themselves as well. So it's real important to bring reality into the mix, or you're not going to be able to have a healthy relationship with anybody, including yourself. So it's super important. And then two, I feel like, we're always trying to play out these, hero victim type of sagas, like, make it all soapy and dramatic, like, the movies. And, we're actually, a lot of times we create scenarios just because that's what we're so programmed to think that it's supposed to look like, all dramatic and all these things, that we create the drama. If it's not happening on its own, we literally will create it just so it fits the mold of what we think a relationship, a romantic relationship, should look like. And also it can kind of tie into to some of our subconscious, issues or problems. Like, we may have that hero complex or that victim complex that we feel like we need to play out, and the easiest place to play that out is in a romantic relationship. Like, if I feel like I gotta save you because, from my childhood, that's the role I always played, and that's how I feel value, and that's how I feel worthy, which is something that I definitely had to work on, and I'm still working on. Um, because a lot of times when you are in, unstable environment as a child, or you go through certain type of traumas, and I went through a lot of traumas, which we'll get into a little bit later. But my sister and my niece were murdered by her husband when I was 12, and that really changed me in a lot of ways, forever. And we have to be aware of these kind of things, because we'll look to play out certain roles from those type of traumas in our life, either like a victim role or a savior role. We'll keep replaying those same dramas out,
yeah, I was
and
about to
because we're
say, like,
looking for resolution.
they seem to play out in relationships that we have, or even friendships and this and that, and
Yep.
the
Yep.
subconscious or unconscious projections, just like, okay.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's like you said, it's all about that awareness, and being honest with yourself about yourself. It's not that you're going to just be able to wake up and heal overnight because you recognize the issue, but once you recognize it, you can start to consciously work on it. You can start to consciously heal. You can start to alchemize. You can start to transmute. You can start to do that shadow work, and start to really resolve those issues, so that they're not playing that dominant role in your relationships and in your life anymore.
Yeah, totally. And I'll give like a real life practical example of just, like, okay, like, no one's going to be perfect and like 100% healed from some of these things. Not everyone. I'm not saying it's not possible, but hey, but it's all about kind of like catching it in the moment or before the projections happen or occur, or the words are uttered or the action is taken and the transgression is done, type of thing. And for me, thinking back, when I was married and this and that, uh there's a moment where it was after the fact, but just like catching it even afterwards and just like realizing it, like having an epiphany, that kind of like just like shifted my approach towards my wife, kind of sense of just kind of like I felt like and heard the voice of my father through my own mouth, in a kind of like a projection of what I saw in an interaction with him and my mother, type of thing, in a negative situation, type of thing. And that's like nothing against him, and it's that things happen, this and that, and it's just my childhood mind that it interpreted and guarded it and kind of replayed it in a real life situation with my own wife. And it's like, no, we can't do this. This is a bad cycle. Don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, them cycles ain't no joke. And my daughter, that the one that's going to be on the podcast, she sat me down and talked to me about this. She said, "You know what? You guys in your family, you guys on both sides, my side and my husband's side." She said, "Y'all don't talk about stuff." And she said, "How are we going to break these generational cycles if y'all keep everything secret and everything's private and you don't talk about any of these issues? We're not discussing stuff." So she like, I was like, you know what? I couldn't even, I was like, you're 100% right. And so I've been doing really better at just being totally open and transparent because I do want to break these cycles. I don't want them to experience the same thing. If I can help it, why would I want that? So yeah, I've been trying to be much more open, much more vocal, um, just about, the things that I've gone through, what I've experienced, what I'm still healing from, the traumas that I've gone through, so we can start breaking these cycles because yeah, they will go on from generation to generation as long as we keep everything quiet, hush hush, don't talk about that, don't talk, that's family business. It's that's not meant to be brought up in conversation and stuff like that because like I told her, I was like, when I was a kid, we didn't really talk about feelings and like we didn't talk about stuff like that. Even like when my sister was murdered, no one talked about it after. And I was 12. I really needed to talk about it, like really bad. But it's just not how things went. And like we didn't talk like that. And so I processed it the way I could process it, which was not very good.
Jeez, yeah. Like, double entendre to the phrase, communication is key or whatever, right? Like,
Mhm. Yes, it is. It
it
is.
sucks. There's like, yeah, like in a lot of families, there seems to be like these, taboos, like, oh, we can't talk
Taboo.
about that, or like, oh, sensitive topic, this and that. And like, even in politics and, even like surface level stuff, it's like, whoa, like, all right, so no feathers are gonna get ruffled, this and that. Even birds need to shed some of that stuff so they can, fly more lightly or gracefully, or whatever. Like, there's, get the dead weight off, or what I mean, like a
Yeah,
big strip
yes.
of skin and that kind of stuff. So it's like we learned some things. We've been duped. We've all been fucking duped. There's psychological operations across the fucking board, programming on top of programming. Get the fuck over your shit and stop acting like a victim, like you're talking about, and let's just talk about it. Open up the conversation. Let's have a heart to heart type of stuff. Like Mario
Yeah.
West likes to say, like those tendy, crunchy morselettes. You know.
Absolutely. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that saying. Yes, those morcelets.
They're
Yeah,
cracking up.
yeah, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. It's so healing when you do, decide to, open up um and even just to yourself, opening up and being honest and, like I said, doing that shadow work. It's painful, but gosh, you feel so much better when you just start being really brutally honest with yourself and really dealing with those traumas and those wounds and all of that repressed hurt and anger. And it's transformative. It's truly transformative.
Yeah,
it,
and
it
that's where it
absolutely
has
is.
to start. Sorry,
Yeah.
rough, but the whole self-love, the self-care, like even, romancing yourself. How are you gonna romance others if you can't even romance yourself? Then, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff,
Yes.
like take yourself out. Have you ever been on a, not talking about you Pacific or like anyone listening, but like watch a movie in a theater by yourself, go out to a restaurant by yourself, this and that, and not be feeling cringy or awkward about it. Like, it's just, you're a human being. This is real life. Like, everyone has to do what they got to do. Feed yourself. Sometimes wind down, have a little bit of entertainment, if you will, or whatever, right? Yeah, good old downtime where you're not in fight or flight mode type of stuff to ease the stress off. Whatever.
Yeah, no, that you're so on point with that because it's so important. Because that was one of the things I wanted to talk about regarding relationships. Because if there's not two healthy participants in the relationship, how is it possibly going to be a healthy relationship? If you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, if you don't care for yourself, if you're not loving yourself, if you're just looking for someone to come and fix you, come to fix your life, come make me better, that's your job. That is nobody else's job to make you better. That is absolutely 100% your job. And that's not to say when you get in a relationship that y'all won't help each other grow and become stronger and it's beautiful and all those things, but that is not their job. That's a benefit of the relationship, but that's not their primary job. That's always your primary job, to fix you and work on you. Because that was something I definitely had to learn in my marriage, because I noticed myself constantly focused on what's wrong with him. He needs to fix this and he needs to fix that. You know who I need to fix? Grab this mirror, right? This is who I need to be working on. I'm putting all this energy onto trying to change someone else when there's plenty of shit about me that needs to be worked on. It needs to be changed. It needs to be healed. So I shifted that from him to me. Not that I wasn't there to support him and help him, but he should not be the primary focus of what needs to be healed and fixed. I should be. And you don't, and also just dealing with stuff by like matching energy. Oh, he gonna treat me like this, I'm gonna treat him like that. None of that helps. None of that is productive. Just keep working on yourself, keep healing yourself, keep loving on yourself. Keep doing that shadow work so that you can bring the healthiest version of you to the relationship. Now, if they don't want to do any healing, you may have to end it because you will probably outgrow that person because you're doing the work and they're not. But you can't, but trying to force someone or trying to fix someone, it'll never work. It'll just never work. It's always an inside job. Healing is an inside job. So people can support you on that journey, but they cannot take that journey for you.
Hell yeah. Yeah, well said. And I'm gonna follow up with something better than a little joke I had, but I'll mention it later, I think. But yeah, it's like we need to be more in congruency and complementation of each other, not this confrontation or the contrast of things and all that stuff. Like, yeah, notice my ex-wife and I were, the path work I was on was really focused and intense, and she was kind of just like doing a thing, the matrix job, routine, that kind of stuff. But I was just like, this is what's important. And I was like trying to throw her plenty of nuggets on the side and up front, but yeah, it didn't click as much as I thought. And I took a soft approach and this and that, and kind of like, I guess the divine masculine thing of being the protector, like, oh, there's all this crazy scary shit going on, like I'm gonna take the brunt of learning about this stuff, and I'm gonna give you like the, not the candy coated version of it, but things that wouldn't
Yeah.
go into some fearful fear mongering bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, it just, I don't know, like it didn't work out, and yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, what you
Yeah, it can be difficult. Like I said, once you commit to doing the self work and the healing and you're on that awakening path, it's just up to the person whether they want to join you on that path. But if they don't, the odds of you staying together is just so low because you're going in two completely different directions. So it's really, it can be very, very difficult, you know. And because especially if if you're in a relationship with someone who is not all that self-aware, you know what I mean. So it can be, very, very challenging to keep it going.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like people kind of just put out whatever kind of patience, and there could be delusions within that to just keep the boat afloat or whatever in a relationship. And yeah, I'm obviously saying that in reflection of my own, but hey.
Yeah, yeah.
I think your ex and myself could relate because I was so in love, and like that was such a motivational thing for me to cook for my wife. And
Mm.
your ex being the wonderful chef that he is, I'm sure you were.
Oh, spoiled rotten with food. But he did teach because he worked a lot. 'Cause, chefs, they work ungodly hours. So he did teach me how to cook. So I cooked most of the time, but when he would be off and he would cook, it was like heaven on a plate. I'm trying to tell you.
Damn.
It was like heaven on a plate. Like, so yeah, like I'm definitely a foodie at heart. Like that is the way, one of the ways to my heart is food, boy, I'll tell you. So yeah, I got really, really spoiled with very delicious food. So yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you can have that connection. And like I said, I you have to take the good with the bad. I learned a lot. It was like a lot of trials through it, and I like I said, but I learned a lot about me. And one thing I definitely realized after he passed away was another reason where I felt like I did want to also date, because I felt very unsafe. I didn't realize how unsafe I felt as just a woman and a person as when he was gone. I felt so incredibly unsafe. Like I needed a man there because I felt so unsafe. And I'm like, why do I feel this unsafe? This, I shouldn't. And then I started, of course, doing shadow work. And I realized I was carrying so much fear still with me from, like I said, my sister and my niece were murdered when I was 12. And it was, I mean, they lived with us, so like we're like close. Like I knew this man. I thought he loved us. I thought he loved my family. This was my brother-in-law. I thought of him as a brother. He killed my niece in our family home. She was only 5 weeks old. And then when it kind of came out, like his story wasn't adding up. He tried to make it seem like it was an accident that happened, but it clearly wasn't. She was 5 weeks. She had a skull fracture that was 3 inches long and a half inch wide. You know how the kind of force that has to be used, because their skulls are still soft at that. They're still forming. So it's very, very hard to create a skull fracture like that. They said it had to be the force of swinging a baseball bat, how he had to swing her into something hard. So this was like extremely traumatizing. So after they found out, like, okay, he did this. So he's saying it was an accident. Clearly, you don't have accidents that cause that kind of damage. So my sister left him, but he was like threatening her, like, he's saying it, like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I'm gonna kill you if you leave me. She's left anyway. She was hiding out with one of her friends. And, he had threatened her multiple times. My dad had begged them to like lock him up. His name was Ray, to lock him up. And they did not. They was like let he could be out while he was waiting for the trial. He could just be free and out. And not that I'm a proponent of the justice system, but he's saying, like, he's threatening her directly. And for me, processing that, like, I'm not understanding, like, okay, if he's saying this and she's scared, everybody knows this man is crazy. How is he still able to kill her? How is that? How did he how why wasn't he stopped by someone, anyone? Why wasn't he stopped before he killed my sister? So if that could happen to her, when this person is saying I'm going to kill you over and over and he still gets to do it, I didn't even realize the level of fear that had placed in me at a very deep deep level. And so I felt like super unsafe, like very unsafe. And I felt like I needed a man there. Otherwise, I don't know what might happen to me. So that was something that I had to deal with because I'm like, you can't operate in life feeling this unsafe. So I had to start really dealing with that child, with that 12-year. I talk to her still all the time and tell her she's okay. Tell her she is safe. I got you. I got you. And it's okay. I understand why you feel like you feel, and it's okay. But understand that I got you. So I work with her so that she can start feeling more safe. And then I also know that when I experience those feelings, I know where they're coming from, so I don't have to engage them. I know that they're coming from that 12-year-old Cindy. That's what my family calls me, Cindy, that 12-year-old Cindy who dad scared the living crap out of her when that happened. So yeah. So
Wow.
that I think that's a big deal for a lot of women that they don't even recognize safety because a lot of women
Mm,
have gone through and a lot of people don't know, like when you're in a lot of women are abused in relationships, and um your chance of being killed is much greater if you leave, not if you stay, if you leave. After my sister was killed, I started doing a lot of research on domestic violence, and I started doing volunteer work as an adult on it. And yeah, the chances of you being murdered is higher if you leave, not if you stay. So I think a lot of women deal with serious safety issues, and I think a lot of men underestimate how unsafe at that, maybe not on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, that most women feel, because most women have either dealt with abuse or rape or molestation or some type of trauma at the hands of a man at some point, which can, especially if it happens when you're really young, it can really, you know, stick with you long term, and you're not aware, because if it happens as adults, you kind of gonna know, like, oh well, like last week this guy beat me up, so now I'm really scared. I know why I'm scared. But when it happens when you're really young, sometimes you're not making the connection of why I'm seeking out relationships so quickly, or just I want to feel safe, I want to feel protected, I need that. You may not be making the connection to what happened to you when you were a child.
wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well said. There's a lot of dots that can be connected with these things. Yeah. It's what drives these guys to do all these things. Like, did they forget where they're born from? Would they like their mother to be in that situation? Yeah. It's beyond me. I don't get
Yeah,
it. It's crazy.
it is. It's
Uh,
it's it's bad. It's really bad. And when you're the physically weaker sex, a lot of, like I said, a lot of times, I mean, you would have no reason to think of things like this, in this perspective, because you're a man. But sometimes it's good to understand kind of how women, where we're coming from, when the
yeah.
person that you're with, if they felt like it could kill you with their bare hands, and there'd be nothing you could do about it, nothing, if they chose to do that day. So we need that. And there's so much toxic masculinity out here, it just puts you in a state like, dang, you know what I mean? Am I safe on a regular day-to-day basis? Because it's a lot of, men out here that think real crazy and real controlling and real dominating, just because they can, just because they know that they can.
Damn. Yeah. What do you think? I guess like the psychological causal factors of why they're in that mind state to have those actions would be
Uh,
about.
well, for him in particular, he was abused sexually, physically, mentally. He was severely abused as a child,
Fuck.
like severely. So, and I think a lot of men may be being abused, and for them, I think it's even harder to talk about it than a woman, because like they're a man, you're supposed to be masculine, you're supposed to be tough, and now I was sexually abused. Like they don't want to tell anybody that they've been abused, that they've been hurt like this. And so I think abuse plays a lot of the um A lot of roles in men having that toxic masculinity and repeating that cycle of abuse just because they were abused. Um, and I'm sure that, and some of it's definitely from, programming, societal programming with this toxic masculinity. Like, when do you ever really even see like really strong moral representations of men on TV or in movies or anything like that? They're usually always toxic. They're either toxic, like overly masculine, or they're like bumbling idiots. You know what I mean? Like, there's just not that strong moral, good-hearted, care for their family type of examples for a lot of them. And a lot of men too are, growing up without, single mom households without any male role models that are positive in their life. So I think there's a lot of societal issues where I have compassion for men, and I'm not one of those. Even all the stuff I've been through, I love men. You guys are when you find, men like you that, are moral and decent and caring, like that's a beautiful freaking thing. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not with the men bashing or let's get rid of men and let's just all be single for, nah, you can do that. I don't have any intentions of doing that with you, girl. No, you just have to find the right man. You don't just, you just have to find the right one. And which, yeah, it's super hard right now. It's super hard. Super hard. Dating has been very nightmarish, but very nightmarish. But yeah, it's like, it is what it is. I just keep working on myself so that I will pull that energy. I gotta, be emitting that signal, that magnetism. So I'm not worried about it. I know he's gonna come to me. I'm not even worried about it no more. He's gonna come to me.
That's right. You ain't got to be on Tinder or none of that shit. Fuck all that.
Yeah, I went on this spiritually single. I was like, this would be better, because I tried eHarmony first. I was like, oh God, hell no. It was like, absolutely not. So I got off
Wow.
of there
Yeah.
really quick, and I went on this site called Spiritually Single. It's a really small dating site, but I'm like, okay, this will probably be much more people more aligned with me, and the way they just meditate a lot, but they the same type of dude. They might do, yeah, they might know how to, do some sign healing and like do a lot of meditate, but they had it was like the same type of stuff, same type of issues, not engaged, lots of apathy, lots of, oh, I know everything. I already read I know everything there is to know. And, that condescending, I'm vibrating so high, like, oh, like it was this. I'm like, this is the same bullshit. It's just they just talking in spiritual terms rather than materialistic terms. But it was the same bullshit.
It sounds more like a spiritual bypassing group, but
I met one nice guy, and we're still friends. We're friends now. Like, he's awesome. He and he's of service. He does a lot of, he does Reiki and all that stuff. So we're really cool. It didn't work out relationship wise, but we're friends and stuff. And he's a really nice guy. But a lot of these guys, I was like, this is just the same stuff, same issues. It's just, they just mask it all with this. They have all the practices. There's no embodiment. They're not embodying all the stuff that they know. They know it all. They can recite it to you backwards and forth, but they're not embodying any of it.
they put on a good performance, don't they? Huh?
Absolutely.
Shit.
Absolutely.
Fucking A. That's the
Absolutely.
hook or whatever, right?
Yep.
I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What do the dark occultists do? They put on a grand performance for us to get hooked into all types of shit. And yeah. Yeah, it sucks that it's getting replayed on the light side of things when these people haven't integrated the higher learnings of these things. Or have they touched those higher learnings? Or, like you talk about, especially in regards to integrating them. That's the main fucking ingredient. Right?
Yep. It is. It's the main.
Yeah,
It's like,
what
what's
the
the
hell?
purpose of getting all of this information if you're not going to integrate? If you're not going to do anything with it, you're just full of a bunch of information, and you're not doing anything. You're not changing. You're not evolving. You're not being of service. You're not doing the great work. It's like you're not doing nothing with all of this information that you have, which is almost, to me, worse than if you were just ignorant. Then I could understand you don't know the information. Maybe you haven't been exposed, or maybe you have taken time to learn it, but like, you actually know it and you still don't give a shit
Yeah.
to
Or,
do
or like
anything.
in the pseudo spiritual side of things. Hypothetically, imagine you're with this guy and he's, talking about like, oh yeah, I know about that tantric sex, and all this stuff, and you guys do it, and you didn't even have an orgasm. It's like, what the fuck, you know?
Right. Like
Anyway,
you're
sorry.
definitely not embodying it. Work on that.
Yeah, but
For
it's
sure.
going back, it's really, it's not about the whole dating stuff or hookup sites or dating sites or whatever. Jeez, I'm I've been in France for a long time. I don't know these things, but in being with a partner for so long, it's like what is dating even like? What I'm sure you had that like yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I felt very like, you know what I'm saying? I felt very lost. I still feel pretty lost.
Yeah, very
It's
true.
very, yeah, it's like I don't, so I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like a young teenager. Like, so it's like I'm trying to learn, and my daughters help me, and like, they try to tell me, stuff to look out for, and da, 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 da. But yeah, so it's quite interesting, but I've definitely realized the online thing is not for me because I'm an energy person. I'm very good at reading energy, but it's like I'm not meeting these people in person, and people can put on a great persona on the internet and on the phone, and then when you meet them it's like, oh, this is not even like, I was totally gaslit. Like I just recently dealt with somebody that was a whole catfish. He's pretending to be like a totally different person. I was like, why are you like, what are you getting out of doing this? I don't even understand. So as it's like, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I have to. I just, me working from home, I'm at home most of the time, so I don't meet people. I don't really go that many places to meet people. So that's why I wanted to try to utilize the online. I'm like, it's not for me. I was like, so I'm just like, I'm gonna just start joining some meetup groups, getting out of the house, meeting people. I need energy. I need face to face energy. I'm like, I cannot do it any other way because I'm an energy person. I gotta feel your energy. I got to feel your spirit to see what you're really about.
Yeah, that's that real shit. I like that as well for sure. And you know, and those are great outlets. Even just like hitting up the farmers markets or things that are more holistically and more aligned with spiritual practices, not the lip
Yeah.
servicing aspects of that, right? But yeah, it's like, I'm sure things will attract you, in the proper manner, synchroniciously normally. Because that's kind of been the case for myself, and just sometimes not even looking for it. And like, hey, like even right now, it's like I actually want to be single, but there's some stuff going on. I'm not going to talk about it, but and it just happens. It didn't happen through any kind of forum or dating site or whatever the hell. It's just like it attracts like. And so what what are people really truly aligned with, and what has really sparked the passion within their heart that they're operating on a daily basis?
Yes.
That is going to be attracting and making that call out to the universe for
Yep.
things to come their way eventually, sometimes suddenly, who knows, but patience is a virtue in these cases, and to yeah, keep that just yeah, like we're never alone, you know
No. Mm-mm.
and
Yeah.
me and my
So
birth,
just
so
have to stay in alignment, keep working on myself, and yeah, that's mainly what I've been trying to focus on. And yeah, my daughters brought up the same thing that you did. She's like, they were like, just go do stuff that you enjoy doing. Go be in nature. Go to, you love the farm. Do the thing. You said you're gonna naturally meet people that also like to do those things because that's where you are. So I'm like, yeah, that's very true. So they're wise beyond their years. So they're always helping me with things. So yeah, but yeah, I said I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna push it. I'm just gonna let it come to me. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing because it is very important to have that alignment, that spiritual alignment. That's the number one thing for me. I don't care what else you got going on. If we are not in spiritual alignment, and it's not a judgment on someone who's at a different place that's just where they are, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not saying I'm better than you, because I'm not. I'm just at this place. This is where I'm at. And you know what I mean? So why waste each other's time if we're in two totally different places? You know?
Fuck yeah, well said. And that's kind of like just like setting healthy boundaries as well, or having a screening process, if you will, and all that stuff. Like, I'm
Yes.
not, allowing these dudes up in my field for, whatever reasons.
Yep.
Like this mosquito trying to suck some blood, whatever, leeching off my life force energy. What the hell? We ain't tolerating that shit
Exactly.
around here. You know what the
No more. That's over. That's a wrap. No more. Get your own. Get your own life force.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
what's your idea of romance, or what else would you like to talk about in general with that, in regards to?
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we could talk about the last R, rebirth.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
So what I came to realize, going through some of the things that I've gone through, is like every time you go through, like a major your grief, and we had talked a little bit before the show about like how even, divorce, that's grief. You grieve that relationship or that marriage, or even just, just a breakup from a long-term relationship. And when you choose to actually process it, you go through a rebirth, because you are not the same person that you were before. Now, some people go through these things and they choose not to process anything. They choose not to take any accountability. They choose not to self-reflect. So then you very well may come out the exact same person. But if you do those things, you're gonna come out different on the other side. So you have these rebirths, and sometimes you may be reborn, and it may be maybe not positive. It may be more towards the negative. But it also can be towards the positive, even through something, really, really hard and traumatic. It just depends on what you choose to do with that pain, with that energy, with those lessons. It's a choice at that point, how you're going to be reborn through that process. But I definitely think of it as, a rebirth, because I'm like dramatically different now than when my husband passed away, like dramatically. Because I had to, because I knew I had to process so much, and I just had to choose, how I was going to and I'm still processing a lot. But I'm in a much better place, and I'm much stronger now, so I, can process it in a healthier way than how I was originally dealing with it. Was just, just depressed, and letting it eat me alive. And so I had to choose a different way, choose a different path, because I'm like, I'm still here. What am I going to do with it? It's a blessing to still be here. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to just keep in this state of ingratitude that I am still here, or am I going to be grateful that I'm still here and do something with it and enjoy the moments that I still have with my family and my loved ones and my friends, and all the things that I can offer, my community, and the work I can do in natural law, and all those things just gave me purpose and gave me my passion back and lit my fire again. And it's just like, okay, I'm loving this. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. So now I look forward to each day. And my life. Of course, you still have bad days. I have bad days, and everybody still has, those days. But for the most part, I've really been able to turn this ship around, and it's been a beautiful experience. And I never even thought I could learn this much about myself. Like, I learned a lot about myself during this, and I'm still learning.
Hell yeah. It's quite the lifelong journey, all these things, and
It is.
yeah. Take it with stride and a smile. Yeah. You live for quite a long while, right? But
Yep.
yeah, I love the fact that you brought up, like, yeah, like things happen to people and people change, or maybe they don't because they didn't heed the lesson, or in whatever, or correct the mistake in whatever, do the inner work or the shadow work, and yada yada. And coming out of that, we improve, we evolve, and all these things. And especially in regards to, like, a significant loss, where there's that deep grievance of these things, and there's like, when you love that much and that intensely, with that much, passion, compassion, it hurts that much more. It takes that much effort and time sometimes to transmute these things, yeah.
Yeah.
And to honor these people and to live this life and still carry them in our hearts, that's a powerful thing to, carry with you. And
Derek, I'm glad you brought that up because that helped me too. Because I'm like, okay, this man worked really hard for me in this family for his whole life. He's an extremely hard worker. And I'm like, am I just gonna squander this now? Like, all the opportunity he's given me, he supported me when I started my web design business. Like, we were so broke, and he was just like, I believe in you, you can do this, da da da. I mean, we was broke when I first started, like, because I was building it from scratch. And I'm like, I gotta represent, I gotta be strong, I gotta keep going. And then when my mom passed, well, I like to say transition, but sometimes people nowadays think when I said transition, they think I'm talking about transitioning genders. So I say passed away, but I prefer the word transition because they're not really gone. They've just transitioned from this realm. But in this form. But my mom passed away on New Year's Day just this past year. And that was, another, big turning point for me. And I just, really, I was like, I'm gonna keep going because I want to make her proud too. I want to make them proud. I want to utilize all the blessings and lessons that they've taught me throughout the years, and not squander it, not waste it. Really, really honor them and utilize it. So that was definitely a big part of me getting the strength to keep pushing forward and moving on.
hell yeah, yeah, that's great. And yeah, my condolences. I lost my mother a couple years ago as well. And yeah, it's just, we can transmute the love we have still for them to this day, uh to kind of like invigorate or vitalize, our, you know will force, if you will, and drive and passion for what we're doing in life and that kind of stuff, or even, carry us through hard times or whatever. And the love we carry for these people, and I guess like honoring, our experiences that we've had with them and the love we shared with them, and we're still evolving at the same time with that proper, alchemized actions of it's like that love evolution, the evolution
Yep.
of love. And I don't know if you're familiar with there's a cool couple by that name, but yeah, that was a
Check it out.
punchline.
Yeah, because no, you had hit on something earlier too when you were talking about just that connection when you're with someone a long time, because I didn't even realize, like, you are literally start to connect on like a cellular level. Like, I felt the effects of his loss, like, physically in my body. I started having heart problems. My blood pressure skyrocketed. I just, one night I stopped breathing. Like, it was so intense. I'm like I would tell people, I was like, life should come with a warning label that there's pain that's this intense that exists, because I didn't know. And I had been through quite a bit already, and I still did not know that something could hurt like that hurt. And I was like, it was just, for me at the time, I was like, this is just too much. I did not know how to process it. I absolutely just did not know how to process it. And I just wasn't expecting it to affect my health the way, like, as quickly as it did. And then I understood, because then I started research, like, what's wrong with my heart? And I guess, I had always heard of broken heart syndrome. So I started research, and I didn't know it was a real thing. Like, it really, like, you can die from this. Like, it's a real heart condition. I was like, oh my God. Like, I didn't know. I thought it was just more like they were just saying, like, you're heartbroken emotionally. Like, no, it means your heart is broke now because you went through so much. So yeah, I was like, because I was having like bad heart palpitations and all type of stuff. So yeah, so it's a real thing that, affects every facet of your being. So you really have to learn how to be again.
Yeah, yeah, real talk. And I swear I suffered, a little bit of that, for a couple months. This, yeah, having these heart palpitations and
It's
like,
crazy, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. Are you familiar with this card?
No, tell me.
Three of Swords, heartbreak, like
Oh,
unbelievable, and it's just like
that's
unfathomable.
good representation.
Yeah, I had this reoccurring for like 3 years with like three different people. It was crazy. It wasn't thrice great, but I learned a lot. And but so like think about like the three of swords, swords being the intellect and all that. And it's just like these things that happen, it boggles the mind. Sometimes it just, there's no words for some of these things, the losses that we have to endure and recover from, or whatever kind of heartbreak or this and that, or just feeling empty or lonely, or there's a void because there was someone there on our side the whole time, and this and that, or like, oh, we have to get over some codependent bullshit, whatever, like, or now we're like all of a sudden single for longer than we would have thought, or it's kind of weird, or it shouldn't be that hard, or like, what the hell is
Yeah.
that?
Yes, all
God
those
damn.
things.
Yeah.
All those things. No, yeah, because it was just like, because I was like, I've never been like kind of like not in a relationship. I'm like, this is so weird. Like, so yeah, but yeah, you live and you learn and you push through. So and keep
Yeah.
growing.
I want to ask, so what's your secret, or what have, I'm sure you're quite transparent and we appreciate your honesty, but yeah. uh not what's your secret, but what have you found that worked good for you in regards to overcoming the heartbreak, the grievance, and alchemizing these things and that kind of stuff, and the self-care and the mirror moments and that kind of stuff.
Definitely gratitude. Gratitude exercises every day. That's how I start my day before I do anything else. I
Wow.
In my mind, what am I grateful for? Even if it's just one thing, it might be one thing or it might be a laundry list, doesn't matter, but it has to start with gratitude, because that, to me, gratitude is just that foundation for a healthy life. Because how are you going to attract the things that you want? You don't even appreciate the things that you got. So that's where I really started, was with gratitude. I started being grateful for what did not always think about what I lost or what I don't have. Look at all that I have. Look at all that I have. I have so much to be thankful for. Like, so thankful, like deeply, deeply thankful. So that's where I really started to make a turn, when I started focusing on gratitude. So I do gratitude practices, affirmation practices, visualization practices, meditation, big into, definitely, self-care, taking care of myself, doing things for myself. I started, taking better care of my body, and eating better, and just, kind of everything, making sure I exercise. I had joined the gym for a while, and just doing the things that I know I needed to do to feel better physically, mentally, spiritually, and just, really sticking to it and not letting myself make a bunch of excuses. Of course, you have your times where you might be going through something, you might slip and like, oh gosh, I haven't exercised in like a week, or I didn't, whatever, did whatever I shouldn't be doing, eating some shit I shouldn't be eating or whatever. But for the most part, 90% of the time, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, and really just sticking to that, and making sure that I love on me, love on me. I can't wait. I shouldn't be waiting for a partner to love me. I need to love on me. They can add to the love, but I'm already loved on. You know what I mean? They just gonna add to the love. and letting other people love on me. Because I had a hard time sometimes, even just going to family or friends, talking about how because I felt like, oh, I'm such a downer. I'm bringing them down with all this grief, with all this sadness. So I would just like keep it to myself and just lay in bed and cry all day. And it's just like, I need to be, they were like, we're here. Like, we're here for you. Like, you don't have to feel ashamed, or you don't have to feel, I would feel guilty. Like, you don't have to feel guilty, like, for being sad. You went through a whole bunch of shit. You're supposed to be sad. It's okay that you're sad. We're not upset with you. We still want to be around you. We still love you. And so that was a big thing for me to get over and just utilize the support system that was there. I just was not utilizing it because I felt, you feel all this shame and you feel all this guilt because like I felt like a burden. I felt like a burden to my family. That's what I felt. I felt like a burden to them. And so I got better with that. And, I would reach out to people or ask, someone to do something with me if I wanted to do something, or I just need a company. And it helped a lot. It helped a lot. I mean, I had some, like, my sister, I call her my little sister. It was Ricky's sister, but I knew, like, when we got married, she was like 5. So she's been in my life like forever. So my little sister, she was like, oh my God, she took care of me. Like, she didn't even live in town. She would just be constantly driving back and forth from Charlotte to here, taking care of me, helping, take care of the girls. And she was just, like, so instrumental in me getting better. My brother was always there for me, coming from Florida, checking on me all the time, just, my daughters taking me on trips with them and their friends. Like, just, my family was there. They was there for my friend, my friend that I went to just visit in Nashville, there for me. So I had the support. Sometimes we just gotta let down our guard and let people be there for us and not feel bad about it. Let people be there for us. Let people show up.
Hell yeah! Wow, and that's great. You had that family support, and you, anyone else, your friends, and whatever. And it is an interesting thing. Like, what is this feeling of shame, or like almost like I'm not worthy to, be
Yes.
taken care of, or what's up with that? It's weird. I've been victim of that, or I admit doing that, multiple times in the past for sure. Yeah, yeah, and like, yeah, you feel guilty, like kind of being a downer,
Yeah.
bringing down the vibe because this. But yeah, I noticed that people want to see the best out of others and stuff, and want to see them happy in the end and stuff, and so you know wouldn't call it like a support group, but whoever's there, your friend, family, and this and that are in your presence, I think they're not going to be like kind of like put off for like, oh, I know this person's going through the hard time, I don't want to hang out with them because they're going to put me down. No, like
Right.
they're looking more to like cheer you up, it seems, and we just have to be more open to that, it seems, you know what I mean? And I've been
Right.
guilty of not being open to these things, be like, I'm just gonna sequester myself over here, gonna. But that's great. You had that support, especially when you got kids and this and that, but more importantly of just what you did for yourself, and being sticking to being disciplined to that, and yeah, like having that gratitude as part of your daily attitude, and yeah.
Oh, and grounding. That was another big thing that helped me a lot. Like,
Mm.
grounding, making and working in my garden. Oh my gosh, getting your hands in the soil and growing stuff and all that life around you, that connection with nature,
Oh yeah.
that was powerful for me because, like, my garden is probably like 3 times bigger than it was at the time when he passed. Like, I've just been growing, growing, growing. Like, so
Ha.
that was
Cool.
extremely healing for me, being just connecting back with nature and working with the food and the plants and the flowers and all the insects that's outside, and you hear the birds chirping, and you're just it's very transformative, very healing. So that also helped me a lot to deal with everything that I was going through. But yeah, it's essential to, because I said I have to start doing a litmus test with myself when I get in those feelings of not wanting to reach out to people. And I say, well, how, if it was Reverse. How would you feel towards them if they were reaching out to you? You'd be like, oh, you'd be right there for them. So why do you think that they won't feel like that about you? So you have like, you have to let that go and let people be there for you and understand that they love you just like you love them. So let them love you. You will be there for them, and you have been there for them. So let them be there for you. So that was probably the toughest one for me, is that. And sometimes I still can get in that mode where I don't want to reach out, or like I can just deal with it myself. Yeah.
Yeah. A lone warrior. Yeah. Get him.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story with the garden, that's great. And I love hearing things like that. And it, made me think of just, for anyone out there of just needing to, like, yeah, there's like this energy or this void that needs to be filled. Find some kind of hobby that's going to be beneficial to maybe not just your life, but others around you. Who knows what you can grow, or it ain't got to be a garden, but even start a podcast or some shit. I don't know. Write a story or a book or whatever. Be creative.
How can you engage in life and be of service and all those things? I give away bags of peppers and tomatoes and stuff because it's just me and my daughter. Like now that I have this histamine intolerance, I can't even eat tomatoes. So it's like I was giving away tons of stuff from my garden, like all summer long. I was like, hey, you want this? You want this? You want this?
Wow.
So yeah, I've still got tons of peppers and stuff growing late into the season. So yeah, but it's like you said, we have to take ownership of our lives. We do. We have to take ownership. Where we're at. How if we're going through shit, how are we going to get out of it? How are we going to get better? How are we going to heal? We got to take ownership. We got to put things into action. We can't just wait for some savior, because that's the whole problem. That mentality is why we're in this situation as a collective, because we keep waiting on a damn savior. We keep waiting. Oh, this person, if we elect them, they'll save us. Oh, if we comply this much, that'll save us. No, we're not going to comply our way. We're not going to vote our way. We're not going to rationalize our way out of the situation that we're in. We're going to work our way out of the situation that we're in. We have to all put in work if we really want to change it. If we really want to change this world and the human condition at this point, it's going to take effort from all of us. It's going to take effort. It's not going to be easy. This everybody looking for this easy solve. There is no easy solve for the situation that we're in. Get that out of your mind. There's no easy solve. Whatever we're going to go through is going to be hard. So get ready. Build up your spiritual tolerance. Build up your physical tolerance. Build up your mental tolerance, because it's going to be hard. And build your community, because you're going to need a community to get through this with. You are absolutely going to need a community. This is not a solo thing. So I advise everyone in earshot, start building a community right now, because you will need them. Because this is real out here right now. It's very real, the stuff that they're doing. And we're going to need each other to change things and start building new paradigms and new systems. We have to do that together. That's not a solo type of thing, or when you're trying to build new paradigms.
Hell yeah. And if you don't mind me asking you to share just real quick, because you're looking to build some things like on solid, fertile soil or ground, yes, in regards to
collectively sustainable.
Yeah.
Yes.
And things that you're going to present in the next Freedom Under.
Oh, in the funnel. Yes, yeah. Yes.
I'm so happy you're going to be presenting.
I am too.
In this conference. Yeah.
I am so excited. So yes, I'm going to be presenting on creating hyper local food systems and food sovereignty. That's what my presentation will be about, because I feel like it's a huge issue that I feel like is not at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. They just feel like, well, there's still stuff at the Kroger now. I can still run to Walmart now and grab, food. They're banking on a system that was designed not to be sustainable. It's designed this way. It's designed for scarcity. It's designed to implode, which is imploding right now. You got farmers filing bankruptcy and shutting down in record numbers. There's farmers going, closing up shop across the globe. And not to mention just that, you have the geoengineering, which is, tainting everything, the soil, the plants, the food, tainting everything that it comes in contact with, because it's so extraordinarily toxic and flammable, which has to do with a lot of these wildfires, but I won't get into that. So we're facing a litany of things that are the supply chains are breaking down, and all of this is by design. All of this is by design. Every single aspect of this is by design, because they know if they control the food, they control you, because there ain't nothing you can do if you can't eat. You got two choices: comply or die. That's your only two choices if you don't have your own food supply. If you don't know, if you can't grow any food, if you don't have a community where y'all are growing enough to sustain that community, if you don't have that in place, yeah, you're going to have to go eat their bug food or their lab meat, whatever other toxic bullshit they're going to offer you up. And they're only going to offer that if you get your digital ID, comply to all these prerequisites to get food, to get your food stipend for the toxic. So like, this needs to be top of mind for everyone where we are with food sovereignty and access to food, because it's you see, most people, like, people can't even afford food right now. It's not, you think tomorrow's going to get better? It's like, no, it's going to get worse. It's going to be less food, and it's going to be more higher price. And if you already can't afford it, how do you think it's going to be in 6 months, in a year? What do you do? What's your plan if the shelves become empty? What's your plan? And like, most people like, I don't have one. And so, yeah, I want to talk about this, and I'm going to, really dig into it, because it's so important. It's so important. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be talking about at the Funnel Conference. And I'm really excited. Like, I'm very excited to talk about this.
Hell yeah. Let's grow.
Absolutely. Let's grow. And anyone interested in the food sovereignty movement or hyperlocal food, visit collectivelysustainable.org. That is the community I'm a part of. And they are doing amazing work. And it is a nationwide organization. So please check it out.
Yeah, definitely get that in the show notes. Collectivelysustainable.org.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't be a part of the Borg and get assimilated into all the stuff that's going down. Yeah, it might not seem that bad right now, but holy smokes, the trajectory from the vantage point that we've seen for a couple of years now, it's really not looking good at all, unfortunately.
And it
Even
is really bad in other places. They just don't put that on the news. There's lots of countries where it is already really bad. And so, yeah, we just don't ever hear about it. And we're one of the especially the southeast is, well, the East Coast period, but especially like the southeast is one of the main areas where they artificially keep cool. So we don't really understand how hot it is in other places, like the effect that that's having on crops. They can't even grow food in a lot of places because it's too hot. You can't grow anything. There's only a certain temperature where plants will still grow. Otherwise, they just shut down. They completely shut down, and you cannot grow food in extreme heat. And there's lots of places already around the globe where it's too hot for people to live and for people to grow food. There's already climate refugees. You just will never hear about this on the news. They keep us chemically cooled, because if we realize that here, it's going to be an uproar instantly. Like, what the hell is going on? So they keep us chemically cool. But whenever they decide to turn that off and stop keeping us chemically cooled with the geoengineering, all hell is going to break loose, because they are keeping us this cool. This is not natural cool. This is not the natural weather we would be having. It would be much hotter than this if they were not chemically keeping us cool through geoengineering. And they keep the highly populated area, the East Coast, the East, very cool, to keep us cool for now. Keep our tempers cool.
yeah. Watch out for how they spin the story and the narratives on the lamestream media out there, folks. But yeah, I know there's also, I don't know if you're familiar with Alana Freeman's work, but but she speaks about ionospheric heating, actually.
Not familiar with
No.
her
Yeah.
particularly, but I have heard of that because I watch Geoengineering Watch Dane Wigington
Yeah.
very religiously, and he talks about that a lot. Yeah,
Mm.
yes, that is absolutely something that they do, and they have patents on all this stuff. You can look up the patent, so it's not like we're making this stuff up. I mean, he has so much video footage of even the planes, the nozzles on the planes. It's like you can see it, the shit in the sky. Like, what more proof do you need but your own eyes? You know? And look at the weather. Like it'll be like 90 degrees one day, and then the next day it'll be like 60 degrees. Sometimes even the same day. The same day, it'll be like a 20, 30, 40-degree drop. That is not natural weather. That is absolutely not natural. There's nothing natural. And food can't sustain in that type of stuff too. When you Dane calls it weather whiplash because like your plants don't
Mm.
even know when am I supposed to fruit, when am I supposed to bloom. Like it's confused. If they get frost, like if you plant all your stuff and then they want to do artificial cool down, they can kill all your stuff just like that with one frost. They can kill
Yep.
everything with one frost.
Yeah, I heard something like that in Texas, like a couple weeks ago, or something like that, and just like, and yeah, like the whole geoengineering stuff throughout, the past like decade. I'm just feeling bad for Mother Nature, the fauna and the flora that has to be subjected to this toxic chemical, dumping. Yeah.
Mother Nature ain't having it. She's not having it. She's upgrading her frequency with or without us, so we better get it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
not having it. She's not having no more of this nonsense.
Yeah. Scalar wave crap. And yeah. So yeah. Bon appetit. While you can get it. And also, yeah, humans are quite innovative. We could find solutions, even if it's gonna go
Absolutely.
into aquaponics or hydroponics or
Absolutely.
inside, if the outside area is not the
Absolutely.
best, unfortunately, even though photosynthesis is best with, light source, not
Yeah.
the artificial stuff, but
Yeah.
c'est la vie. Yeah.
No, I think we're brilliant. We can solve problems. We need enough people on board that want to solve these problems. I'm not a naysayer. I think we can get through all of this, but we have to get through it all together. At least with enough people, that really care about what they're doing and they're looking to not own the land, but steward the land, care for the land, care for nature, not to run over it and bulldoze it, take from it, steal from it, to nurture it, to be a part, to be in union with it, in communion with it. And we take care of each other. So that's what we got to change that mindset, the way we even look at nature, the way we look at all of these things. And because I think we can turn all of this around. But like I said, it's just not going to be easy. People just can't, they want it to be easy, and it's not going to be easy. That's the part that everyone has to accept. It's going to take a lot of work from us. But I'm 100% believe that we can do. I know we're going to do it. There's too many beautiful souls out here that care, and there's just more of them waking up every day. We're gonna do this.
Hell yeah. And it's kind of like when Neo was speaking to the Oracle, like, am I the one? Well, it depends, And actually, it's more like, it's kind of like being in love, It's you just know it, you know. Do people have that agape love for creation, for life, for themselves, for their fellow brethren, sisterin, and all these, the animals and all this stuff? Being in that position of compassion to be a proper steward, as you're saying, and to carry on what we need to do uh, in alignment to, the new Earth frequencies. Because,
Yep.
Mother Nature ain't having this bullshit,
Nope.
way
She's
too
like,
long,
we done.
And a lot
Yep.
of hearts of mankind and womankind, like, we're fed up with these bullshit, mediocre interactions, in sexual encounters, and uh, subpar relationships, or as Mario West likes to call, relationships. You know.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's time we kind of act our, you know, put your money where your soul is, and act your, you know, actually act, walk the talk. Just yeah. I was gonna say act your age, or act your spiritual, status that you keep posting on Facebook or whatever. Like,
Yep, that part.
because that shit, people get exposed every time they open their mouth, every time, they're in these relationships. And, as time goes on within these relationships, the shadow aspects grow if it's not, properly healed, dealt with, integrated, and all that. Right. So, yeah, it sounds like, yeah, obviously you're speaking from a lot of experience and overcoming a ton of, yeah, just heartbreak and grievance, and all that stuff. So yeah, I love the rebirth story that you shared with us. Yeah, please, anything else you want to share with that? And yeah, even ask me a question,
Um,
whatever's clever, you know.
oh, I get to ask you questions too.
Of course.
So yeah, tell me how did you get through your divorce? What did you do for what was your rebirth process?
A lot of crying, and asking myself the tough questions, and yeah, just looking to correct myself, like staring at myself in the mirror a lot. And yeah, like, Derek, who are you? What are you doing right now? Like, do you understand, why this happened? And I was not hella hard on myself, but I guess I was more like a feeling like culpable. Like, I wouldn't say guilt tripping myself, but I felt like, I was the main reason for the breakup. And so I wanted to, I was like, geez, I never want to make a woman cry ever again in my life, even though, some things are out of my control and that kind of stuff. But, like, because it already happened, even if I never wanted to, and whatever. But yeah, it's just, trying, looking at all the wrongs that were done. And it was kind of like, a flash, your life flashes before your eyes type of thing. But in the relationship scale of that, and just, scaling over that and going over it with a fine tooth comb, I guess. And just like pointing out all the wrongs, or things that, I could have done better, or acted more appropriately, or used better etiquette, or better wording when speaking to her, and that kind of stuff. And so it's not like there were umpteen thousand of them, but me, I can be very meticulous. And so I wanted to, yeah, looking to improve upon these things. Like, how can I be better for the next, partner, where and whenever that would possibly be, type of, you know what I mean? So yeah, just didn't want to make the same mistakes, and I wanted to really research and es- excavate all the errors, and kind of bring them to surface, correct them, respect them, and never neglect them, or whatever, like.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. No, that self-reflection is really critical. I mean, I had to do so much of it, after my husband passed, because it's like I feel like I know him better now than I knew him when he was alive, which is really weird, but because he's not here and we're not going back and forth, we're not arguing, but I can just really reflect on stuff. I can just really reflect and be like, dang, I wish I would have been kinder, or I wish I would have did this way, or I wish I would have approached this way, or you go through all these what ifs, and I was what ifing myself to death. And I said, you got to stop with the what ifs, because you already, you're human, you're not perfect, you made your mistakes, he made his mistakes, but you guys loved each other through it all. Through it all, we were no matter how what state of our romantic relationship was, we were always best friends. We always really loved each other. We loved each other. So but yeah, you start to reflect on everything, and all I can do is say, well, okay, well, now I know that's not how I want to interact in the future going forward. When I have new relationships, I don't want to do that again, because that wasn't healthy, that wasn't cool, that wasn't okay, or whatever. But that self-reflection is important. You just don't want to overdo it where you're like beating yourself up every day, which is not helpful either.
Yeah, yeah, not at all. Wow. Yeah, yeah, well said, well said. Holy smokes. Yeah, that is interesting what you said with the, yeah, like learning different things about him after he's gone, in a sense. Like, yeah, yeah. Just
I understand him so much better
mm.
now, because we're not in the midst of it. Because when you're in the midst of it, you have so many distractions. All this stuff is going on. You might be going back and forth about this and that. Life is lifing. So you're just not sitting back and just reflecting. But now, once he was gone, that's all I had time to do was reflect. So I
Mm.
started to really like go layer by layer, and I just really started to understand him like so much better, and why he made some of the choices that he made and stuff like that. And it was a powerful experience. So, and I still talk to him all the time. So yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's so honorable. That, yeah, thanks for sharing that. Um, I guess question that just popped up. I mean, because I've been kind of struggling with this. I mean, it's every individual is different, and these interactions that we have with anyone is going to be unique, right? But as far as like, have you found it hard to open your heart, or love someone to the level that you're like comfortable, like, yeah, this is, I'm in love type of thing? Has that been
um
tricky, or
it was kind of tricky, because I was really kind of hoping that I wouldn't. Honestly, I was just being honest, I was really hoping that I would not like be fall in love. Like, I was scared of being hurt like that again. Like, what if something happened to him too, um so but I did. The guy that I dated, that I was talking about earlier, I did absolutely fall in love. And it was hard, when I started to realize kind of what was going on. Like, there wasn't really, it probably was not a mutual love, but it was but it made me, I'm glad. I don't want to close off my heart. I have a big heart, and whoever does end up with me, they gonna get loved on so dang on much and so good. Because I got so much love. Like, I'm a nurturing person. That's just my nature. So it's there, it's just waiting. It's, yeah, so it's just, yeah. But no, I don't want to close off my heart ever. It's too big of a part of who I am. I'm a very, I'm just a very kind of sympathetic, empathetic, compassionate, loving type of lovey-dovey person. So it's like, I can't give that part of me up. That's just who I am. I don't want to give it up. I love it. I want to grow it even more. Make my heart bigger, not smaller.
that's great. Yeah, I love hearing that. Yeah, especially after the loss and the heartbreak and stuff, and just that's that rebirth talk you're
That
doing.
rebirth talk. It is, because one thing I had to learn in that rebirth process is I had to have a different, I had to embody, because I knew it. I know we're internal spirits and da 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 da, but I was not embodying that, because I did it. I felt like I lost him forever, for good. I was crushed, and I was not embodying the fact that I know he's not gone. He's gone from that physical body, but he's not gone. And I have to respect the life cycle that is a part of this experience. And to not respect and honor that is to not respect this experience, this human experience. So I had to step back and say, I have to honor this. None of us are here to stay. This is a cycle. It's a life cycle here. I'm going to cycle through. He cycled through. We all are going to cycle through. And I have to honor that. I'm not in control of that. I got to honor that. So that was, yeah, that helped me with that rebirth process, is just honoring that life cycle and just, saying, okay, well, we are, here in this realm. We are on the time schedule. So hey, let's make the most of this time. What can I do with this time to love on you the most? To be of service the most, to do the most good, yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, we only have a limited amount of time on this plane
Absolutely.
and all that stuff. We could spend so much trying to complain or stress and strain on what the hell, man. But yeah, finding your soul's purpose. What are we here for exactly? Making a positive impact, and yeah, all this stuff. And yeah, jeez, the I forget who this quote is from, but it's like, life is short and it can be quite mean, so make sure you get some loving in between, or something like,
I like that. I like
yeah.
that.
I think it's like, yeah, Huey P. Newton or something. What is it? Yeah. Anyways, so yes, we all want to find someone to, yeah, just make love with, share love with, make music with, or build things or whatever and stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of ego stuff that we're all sifting through and dealing with, and all the programming that we need to deprogram from, and family and social conditioning and the traumas, and yada yada, right? Where are we living at in this, like, it's crazy, right? But at the same time, like, saying that, it seems like the cards are stacked against us, yet love is so powerful. It can cut through
Cut through.
so much of it. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything to that, but yeah.
My first podcast was "Love and Truth Are Synonymous Terms." Love and truth can cut through anything. It's a
Mm.
force within itself. So yeah, that's why I said we're gonna get through this, because love and truth, they're unstoppable. You cannot stop those forces. See that synchronicity? But yeah, that was my first podcast. Love and truth are synonymous terms. So yeah,
Oh wow.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Cynthia, it's always great to talk to you. Yeah,
Same here.
you're really a breath of fresh air. Uh, you got a lot going on. You got a lot to say, and everything you seem to say is just like on point and legit. And yeah, and just appreciate your energy and your presence and enthusiasm behind things, and checking out the sound path stuff. I was happy to get that little. Your poetry is fucking phenomenal. Like, I was blown away when I was like, I'm doing this shit. Like, what? Like, wow. Like, that
Thank you
threw me
so
off.
much.
Damn,
I appreciate you so much, Derek. I really do. Thank you. You've been very, very key and very inspirational on this journey for me, and very supportive. And
Oh,
yeah, I got mad love, mad love. I appreciate you so much.
likewise, Cynthia. And yeah, honestly, take the floor, please. Anything else you want to share, say, declare? Obviously, where folks can find you. Obviously, we're gonna put those in the description box. But yeah, Affirm
Find
Life
me
Daily in the house.
Affirm Life Daily. Yes. FirmLifeDaily.com. Follow on social at Affirm Life Daily on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I think that's all of them. Facebook too. I just I don't post a lot on there, but I do have a page on there. But yeah, please, your support is very instrumental in helping to spread these messages of truth and freedom and natural law. So I appreciate any likes, any follows, any sign up for the newsletter. With the newsletter sign up, you do get I've created a free PDF that gives out overview of natural law. So if you're not familiar with natural law, I call it the blueprint. I took that from the poem, the blueprint. So you can, it's very short. It's very digestible. If you want to learn about natural law, when you sign up for the newsletter, that's a free PDF download. So yeah, just the support is instrumental because we are all in this together. We are a collective. So please, if you have the time, check out affirmlifedaily.com.
Oh yeah. Collective meaning it's not a spectator sport, so participate in any way or fashion you can, even if it's
Yes.
just like supporting, watching, sharing videos, and hey, people might even accept donations or whatever. But especially for things that you got some smooth operations going on with the farming stuff, or farming, gardens and
Yeah, no, yeah, farming,
yeah,
homesteading, all
yeah.
gardening, it encompasses all of it. Whatever level you're at, they, will help you, grow that and grow a community local to you in your city,
What was that?
in your area.
SustainableGardens.org again?
It's collectivelysustainable.org.
Gotcha.
Yep. And there's a link. If you go to my site, there's a link to their site.
Okay, cool.
To that site as well. I shouldn't say they're our site because I'm a part of that movement too. So yeah, there's a link there to get to that. Also to get to Farm Fresh 24/7. That is also national, farmfresh247.com for growers, makers, bakers, or people that just want to buy locally from growers, makers, and bakers. So you can go on there, get anything from somebody that may be a seamstress that can sew you some pants to some fresh herbs to some eggs to a live chicken. So there's everything, some of everything on there. And it's about connecting community. We're trying to bring back real community where I know the people that live around me, they know me. We help each other. We love each other. We care about each other. It's all about community. So please check it out. Yeah, we need everyone on board.
Yeah, and that's a good video to check out because you interviewed some of the people that are in this collective most recently, right? What's the name of that? So
Yes.
people can check that out.
Yeah, that is they were from Collectively Sustainable. So yeah, so
Gotcha.
if you check out that last podcast, it's on my homepage of my website and on the podcast page. Check that out. That'll give you some great information and some insight into what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. Because that's very important, the whys and the hows, because like I said, we're doing this from a place of respecting nature and stewarding the land, not owning it, stewarding it, taking care of it, and taking care of each other at the same time.
Yeah, that good old symbiosis, as above,
Yes.
so below, and from the micro to the macro, and stop having relationships that are whack, yo.
Right.
Relationships with Mother
Drop them
Nature.
bars, Derek.
Your relationship with yourself, your Mother Nature, animals, your sister, your brother, your lover, and whatever else, what the hell?
Yep, absolutely. All the things. Yep.
A lot easier said than done, but hopefully we'll get there, right? So
We'll get there. We working on it. We gonna get there.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, Cynthia, thanks so much again. Yeah, it was.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This was awesome. This was a great conversation.
Oh yeah. Love this.
Very healing and therapeutic as well.
Cool.
So thank you for this. Thank you
yeah.
for this.
Honored. Ciao for now. Thank you.
Right. Infinite grace, love, and gratitude.
God's blueprint. It's the law of the land, the seas, the heavens, and everything in between, the ether, the air, the dream world, and all that's unseen. Weaving a moral code through the very fabric of life. Its essence light as a feather, but its consequences cut like a knife. The truth of the matter is the truth of matter. Our mental creation, the dream within a dream. Our unreal reality where nothing is as it seems. Anchored in love, we try to peek through the veil. Connected through source, we prepare to set sail. Navigating these unsteady waters with spiritual GPS, globally positioning sovereignty as our shadows confess. From wading in the water to walking on it. From careless whispers to talking on it. We are one, a singular source, fractals colliding, navigating, flowing through eternal time and space. Racing to nowhere, it is ultimately self we must face. The great showdown, nature versus man, take 10 paces, then turn and aim, only to see the enemy has our own faces. We are nature, we are the love we seek. When the blindfold dissolves, the frightened magician shrieks. Our true nature revealed, our heart centers expand. Instead of movies and music, it's freedom on demand. The passion of the Christ consciousness. No more acting, authenticity reigns supreme. Stop in the name of love and see the hue of your being. Understand the code, the principles, the truth, unfiltered and raw. I also like to call it God's blueprint, aka natural law. Natural law.